I'm going to come closer to what we are seeing now, which is AI in PET and QBD design. We have already seen FDA pushing for comments from the stakeholders on pharmaceutical manufacturing, Industry 4.0. So I think these are the ones where we're going to see AI implemented across platforms, across labs, and really doing a lot of data management, data collection, and analysis, and all of other things that it needs to do.
Hey, smart biotech scientists, welcome back. We are in the middle of an exciting conversation about the cutting-edge world of AI-driven bioprocess development and emerging technologies in biopharma. Our today's guest is Belma Alispahic, who is the Chief Scientific Officer and co-founder of AnalysisMode, based in Helsinki, Finland. Belma is at the forefront of applying artificial intelligence to revolutionize bioprocessing, and she's here to share her insights on how AI is shaping the future of our industry. If you haven't listened to part 1 yet, please go back. And now let's dive in and continue our conversation. Are you juggling the complexities of CMC development while trying to enjoy the beauty of biotech? Have you ever wondered if there's a way to simplify bioprocessing? Welcome to the Smart Biotech Scientist podcast, where we're diving headfirst into the very challenges you face. We're breaking it down, demystifying the jargon, and giving you the keys to unlock your full potential. I'm your host, David Brühlmann, and I get it. With 15 plus years in the biotech industry, I face the same challenges you do. There's a way to simplify and streamline so you can remove complexity, you can skip trials and errors, deliver without delay your groundbreaking therapy to clinics and market, and still enjoy every single step. Do you want to learn how industry experts and I did it? Grab a cup of coffee and your favorite notebook and pen. Now is the time to take your bioprocessing game to the next level. Let's smarten up biotech. How can you leverage now your learning, the technology, especially as a small or mid-sized company? Let's assume that I am the CEO of a small biotech startup and I don't have any results yet. We haven't done any experiments. So where should we start to actually then speed up process development and make it much better and get to the results faster?
Oh, I love this question. So what AnalysisMode is doing with our approach is we have 2 separate approaches. So one is that we are building. You give your data, we model the data, we don't keep anything. You keep the model. We co-own the model actually, but this is more tailored approach, personal approach, and you keep more ownership of the work together with us. The other part is more suited for small and mid-sized biotech companies, and that is we have developed our master model. And this master model has been trained on a certain amount of data, and it might not be the best for their use case, depending on how specific it is, but it's going to be very good for them to start without having any of their data. And then they can come in and test, for example, what would be the experiments that they would run in the lab and what would be the outcome of those, so they can reduce the amount of experiments needed to get to the best one. And I think this is the game changer, because this will allow companies that are running on very limited resources to be more efficient with them and to reduce the costs and waste as well.
So this will enable, for instance, a small company to start much faster, to leverage already the knowledge you have of your master model, and then perhaps just do a select number of experiments to fine-tune the findings and to get to something reliable, right?
Exactly. And then there's another level of cooperation that we do with academia as well and smaller companies, which is we can work as a strategic partner. So we give you access to the model we already have. And then as you work along with it, we improve the model together with you. We also take the ownership of part of the data, which is very important for us because we don't get to do that very often. So depending on the commercialized, not commercialized project. So this is where we can work together to actually help them throughout the whole journey of process development and process characterization and optimization. So at the end of it, once they have to move to the manufacturing scale, they will already be so well prepared for the tech transfer that they need to do, the data that they have collected, because we will also force them to collect data in a way that it has to be, which is not something that they might not necessarily put that much priority on when they are doing their work. So I think it's a beautiful partnership between companies like ours where we can really move the needle even outside of this partnership to a much broader application together.
Now, you've mentioned, Belma, that AI is still in its very early stages. Let's look at the future now, Belma. And what do you think are the emerging AI technologies that will have the most significant impact on the biopharma industry?
One, I would say, is really the next generation of machine learning and deep learning and AI technologies, such as ours, Now Revolution, which are really taking a different approach, more very applied approach to the problems that they are solving. So that can be either working on bioprocessing or identifying promising drug candidates, especially some things that are critical for personalized medicine. I think this is where we are going to see a lot of new wave of technologies coming in. The other one is NLPs, so natural language processing. I think this has been all over the place with ChatGPT coming out. But I think this is also very important for industry where we do have a lot of textual data, where there is a lot of genetic data that we are processing, when there is also a lot of clinical reports, research reports, where we can extract a lot of valuable insights and streamline regulatory compliance and also clinical studies. So I would say these two. And then that can expand on AI-driven robotics, which we are already seeing a bit in the industry. I had a chance to visit a small plant in Berlin at one of their institutes. So the stuff is already moving, the needle is moving, and I think we are going to see robotics taking over repetitive tasks and therefore reducing errors, and data-driven clinical trials. I think this is going to be very crucial for the industry, especially the cost of drug development, because it's still, with all of this in mind, clinical trials are the most expensive part of getting the drug to the market, and improving how we select patients, predict outcomes is going to make the trials faster and more reliable. And then hopefully we are going to have and see these therapies more in the market and also for a more affordable price.
And how will AI enable these breakthroughs in our industry?
By just doing what it does the best, analyzing the data, giving you the predictions, and you at the end deciding if you want to do it or not. I think this is a very crucial part here is at the end of the day, it's still going to be people who have the final say in how do we trust and how much do we trust these new innovative approaches we are taking. But I think this is where AI comes in. It's the data, it's the insights from the data, knowledge from the data, and action from the data.
And in addition to that, where do you see the fusion of different technologies enable breakthroughs, such as you mentioned the use of robotics and AI, or are there any other areas that will eventually merge and will just enable us to do much more than we can today?
What my personal dream would be is to see AI doing what I called end-to-end central dogma. And this is what I had in mind for quite some time. I don't know who is going to make this, but I would love to have the whole platform that would cover everything from the early drug discovery, from identifying the candidates, testing the candidates, especially now we are talking really about next generation therapies. So antibodies, conjugates, cell and gene therapies. We are going to be much faster and then apply this to DNA, to RNA, to proteins, to protein discovery, to protein folding. And then this is still the drug discovery part, and we move on to drug development. And then now we have AI helping in process development, in manufacturing, in clinical trials. And all of this should ideally be on. This is my dream. This is what I would love to see quite far in the future. But I think this is where we're getting at slowly. I'm going to come closer to what we are seeing now, which is AI in PET and QBD design. We have already seen FDA pushing for comments from the stakeholders on pharmaceutical manufacturing, Industry 4.0. So I think these are the ones where we're going to see AI implemented across platforms, across labs, and really doing a lot of data management, data collection, and analysis, and all of other things that it needs to do.
While AI will definitely revolutionize our game, it will provide a lot of new ways to develop bioprocesses. I think we need also to talk about one other aspect, which is the security and the safety of this new technology. So can you tell us a bit more about the explainability and the transparency in AI models, and how do we handle actually the data well and make sure that we are making informed decisions?
I have to talk from my knowledge and my experience. And what I have seen as very important is making sure that people understand what is happening. And this people is all of the stakeholders that you will eventually come across with. So that can be scientists, that can be lab heads, that can be people and the top heads of the company, and regulatory organizations as well. And it's not easy to define these terms because they have many different definitions depending on whom are you talking to. So having said that, I think when you are having this in mind, and we were developing our technology, for us, it was really important for the scientists to understand what happens when they enter the experimental setup, they enter the experimental target, they click on simulate, and they get the results. And we have achieved this by really taking on the white box approach and working with logic rules. So our AI works more on the premise of symbolic learning rather than maths, which then allows us to form logic rules and really open the black box and give the transparency and explainability to the user into not only how the model has made to the decision, but also what's the meaning of the decision. Because at the same time, they're looking at the heat map that is telling them, oh, this is how I'm going to optimize my titer. These are the parameters that I should look at. And this is how significant these findings are, because we also have a scale of how valid essentially is what you're looking at and how trustworthy it is for you to take that and move it to the lab. So I think this is really important because then everybody can explain it to everybody. And especially for regulatory compliance, what I have seen, it's not really about the code itself. It's really about what does the code do and how do we explain it so we know that every time we do something, we are going to be able to repeat it, see the same results, and then be able to know how to report on it.
Smart biotech scientists, I don't know how you feel about AI. If you feel about, wow, it's going to be amazing, it's going to be just a game changer, or it could also be that you have certain doubts or even certain fears. In the final part of our conversation, Belma, I'd just like to talk about certain advice you could give scientists, especially scientists who are feeling overwhelmed by complexity of bioprocess development and also AI. So how can AI help simplify our work and reduce the stress?
For how I see it, it's really AI is there to enhance your ability to think strategically and to make sense of complex processes. Then after it helps you think, it also helps you structure conclusions that are not only actionable, but deeply insightful. So you can cut through the noise and then you can highlight what really, really matters. So it takes a huge load of decision making. So you can ensure that every choice you make is either spot on or backed by more confidence. So therefore, that should turn what should be a very overwhelming process into one where you're making decisions with clarity and precision. So I think this is where AI really reduces the stress for the scientists, especially considering their timelines and the expectations that they're handling.
And if I want to integrate AI into my company's workflow, where should I start?
I think just start. It's really, I kept on saying this, just start with whatever it is, as long as you know what your problem is. If you're working in bioprocessing, that might be looking to increase the titer, improving yield consistency. That can be just, I want to analyze this data and I want to see what to do next. And then the next part would be collecting the right data. So this does not necessarily mean that you have to go in the lab and produce new data. This just means that you have to collect the data that you already have into one place. That can even be something from 5 lab runs and everything more. The more comprehensive your data collection is, the better outcomes of AI will be. And then once you have that data, now you're looking for the best AI solutions to fit your needs. And this is why it's important to know what your problem is so you can identify the platforms that are going to help you. So if you're working in bioprocessing, you're looking for something that is designed to handle complexity, but also at the same time ensure that you are not going to have just another tool that is an add-on and not really used. So it has to be something that is easy to use and seamlessly integrates into your already existing workflow. And then at the end of the day, if you don't know what to do, contact people that know, ask for consulting, ask for guidance. We are still early. All of us are figuring this out and we have to support each other so we actually make something out of it. I think that's very, very important to stress out, that no matter how senior or junior are you in this industry with AI, in this space, I think we are still just making the little tabs, and by making sure that we talk, we can navigate the challenges and not only adopt AI, but do so in a way that really enhances your work and delivers tangible results to you.
This has been a fantastic conversation, Belma. What is the most important takeaway from all we have discussed today?
I would say that you cannot run away anymore. AI is here. I think people are tired. I am tired of it, but it's here to stay. It's not only the tool for the future, it's really an essential part for biopharma. And I really hope that we are going to use AI to tackle a lot of challenges that we have there, and that will make sure that these technologies are applied so we really, really get promising therapies on the market for lower price and use its full potential.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It's here to stay. Where can people connect with you and learn more about AI and how to effectively integrate into bioprocess development?
So you can always go to our website. You have buttons there that you can click and connect with us via email. It's quite fast. You can do the same through LinkedIn. I personally prefer my personal LinkedIn. I love the personal touch on conversation, so I know who am I talking with. So I'm really always open to connect there with people, talk with people, exchange opinions, especially be challenged, because we are doing something that is challenging and we want to make sure that we are doing it right. And that would be the most important ones, I would say.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Belma, for sharing all these amazing insights and making us dream about the potential of AI. It was a pleasure having you on the show today.
Thank you, David, for having me. And I hope I didn't say AI too many times so people don't get scared. It's okay. It's not too scary.
All right, smart scientists. That's all for today on the Smart Biotech Scientist podcast. Thank you for tuning in and joining us on your journey to bioprocess mastery. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast platform. By doing so, we can empower more scientists like you. For additional bioprocessing tips, visit us at smartbiotechscientist.com. Stay tuned for more inspiring biotech insights in our next episode. Until then, let's continue to smarten up biotech.